Hello, I'm Brian Kurth with Revere Software, and welcome to 3 Tips in 3 Minutes for CSR Leaders. And with me today is Farron Levy with True Impact. Farron, welcome on board, and what are your 3 tips for us today?
Thanks, Brian. 3 tips are around employee engagement. Number one, whenever with our measurement work, as we support primarily Fortune 1000 companies and helping them to measure the social impact of their philanthropy and charitable donations. And always part of a broader philanthropic portfolio is various types of employee engagement. And one of the main tips is make sure that skills-based volunteerism is part of that. Even for companies that want to have a light touch and not be so paternalistic in what their employees do, what we found is most companies, most employees care most about a cause or even a nonprofit organization, and they've already made up their mind that they're willing to donate time to do it. So all else equal, why not make it more skills-based volunteerism? Because it's more valuable to the nonprofit, and it's more valuable. We've seen plenty of research out there and our own research as well, more valuable to the company in terms of satisfaction and skill development, even elements of recruiting and sales.
Retention, employee retention as well.
So that's the big one. So at a minimum, nudge. There's always need for hands-on or traditional skills-based volunteerism. But if you can do the higher leverage stuff, that's great. So that's number one. And then my 2 other tips, unsurprisingly, around measurement. So when you do that, starting with the business value first. Instead of just saying, hey, it's conceptually, this helps with skill development or recruiting or satisfaction. People intuitively get why that's true, but it's always pretty powerful to back it up with some evidence. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Go to your colleagues in HR or recruiting to find out how they measure things like skill development and engagement or satisfaction, and just borrow those usually survey instruments or questions and deploy those as part of your follow-up with your employee engagement activities, because you're doing it in terms they already understand. You don't want to make up your own values and say, oh, look, this is, and have to explain it and so on. Just use the existing currency within the company, and it's extremely, extremely powerful. And again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
So that's on the business side. And then it's kind of the same tip on the social side, but where you get that data is from your nonprofit partners.
Yes,
so,
right.
A lot of times you'll have companies monetizing the value of volunteerism, which is appropriate. You can say traditional volunteerism is the independent sector's average value of volunteer hour, but skills-based volunteerism can be 2, 3, 4, 5 times as valuable as that. So you can monetize that. Bureau of Labor Statistics has average wage rates that you can pull out an average monetary value for the kind of volunteerism that people are engaging in. But don't stop there. Ask your nonprofit partner to define for whatever program that the volunteer is supporting. Ask them 2 questions. One is, what is the total cost of implementing that program? And what are the outcomes of that program over the course of a year? So if you have those 2 things, what are the outcomes, the results, the number of people that achieve success, and what's the total cost of implementing that program? When you have those 2 pieces of data, you can calculate the cost per outcome of a success. And then what you can take the monetary value of your skills-based volunteerism and convert that into a social outcome. So if you have a program that costs let's say $50,000 a year to implement, you're providing $5,000 worth of value, you're effectively underwriting 10% of that program so you can claim 10% of the impact. So that's called a contribution calculation and is appropriate in 90% of the implementations, right, to do the convert your donation to social impact. And it's very powerful way to do it.
Measurement is key to everything that we are doing with skills-based volunteering. Our clients, it's just inherent. They have to measure what they're doing with their nonprofit partners. And the nonprofit partners have to measure to live up to the board expectations, their board expectations. So this is a critical piece. We do not do this, but True Impact does. And so if folks watching and listening want to reach out to you, and if they're not so great with a calculator like I am, and they need some help to truly measure, and it goes way beyond a calculator, how should they best reach out to you?
TrueImpact.com. Come to our website, and it can give a little more guidance on the value of measuring. So we feel pretty strongly it's not just checking the box that you measure things, but that you're using it. It's kind of a means to an end to demonstrate the value of your philanthropy and community engagement, but also as a way to drive improvement of those programs. What works so you can do more of it, what's not working so you can intervene and improve it.
Perfect. Farron, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time, your wisdom, and we look forward to continuing to partner with True Impact. Thanks so much.